Here we are.
All right. We're doing it?
Jim, first off, thanks for letting us come here. Your house, beautiful, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes, it's, we spent a lot of time designing this and building it. It's built with love and money. God, it costs a lot of money to build things.
It's beautiful, and it's probably a lot different from Chicago, where you're born and raised. I want to know, what was the conversation like around cannabis as you were growing up?
Jeez. I mean, I was in high school. I got busted twice. The conversation was, that it was a drug. And by the way, everybody thought it was a drug and that we were doing drugs. And now the conversation is around, we're doing medicine. We're doing stuff to heal, the PTSD, the rushing of the endocannabinoids when you re-experience a traumatic event. We're talking about headaches, anxiety, sleep. We're talking about cancer, suffering people, veterans who are suffering. My brother John was a football player. He was a star, middle linebacker, all-state, all-conference. He banged his head so many damn times in that game, he got all the tackles. And I think he had CTE. His behavior, when I describe CTE behavior in the definition, it's like, wow, it's John. So I think he found his medicine in college. And, but because it was still categorized as a drug, and so are all the other drugs. No, those are drugs. Opiates are drugs. Vicodin is a drug. Oxycontin is a drug. Cocaine is a drug. But back then, when you're suffering and you don't even know you're suffering, you're looking to release and calm the body. So now we know that cannabis is medicine, and the line is here. Those are drugs. Stop it. Don't do it. There's no violence around cannabis. It's a peaceful drug. People are sweet. It's spiritual. The outdoor stuff that I grow, the sun there is up for 16 hours during the summer. There's so much beautiful light from Father's Sun entering these plants. And when you smoke or eat those plants, you're eating and smoking the light, which means you become lighter, which moves right into enlightenment.
Very spiritual.
Yeah, it's a spiritual plant. Okay, now, there are situations where I think there are children who have epileptic seizures that cannabis will get rid of the seizures. But I'm talking socially, So my conversation with them is that, just like I'm having a conversation with you, I believe in the medicine. I think if my brother John was a pothead, he'd be alive today.
So let's go down that line. Why did you decide to enter the cannabis space? And then there's so many verticals and reasons and ways to get into the cannabis space, but why join it as a farmer?
Listen, everything is an accident with me. It's just an accident. It's in comedy they call it heighten and explore, right? It's like you see a crumb on your pants, right? As an actor, you see it and you take it off, right? Well, it's sticking to my. I rub it on here, right? And now I made a spot. So now I'm going to cover that spot. And oh my God, here comes the owner. And now I just kind of lean in. Now I'm feeling guilty. And now what am I going to? So one little crumb led me to this gag, right? Yeah. So in cannabis, it was just like one little thing kind of led me to where I am. I met a guy, Josh Hoffman, who I think is brilliant in the cannabis space. I mean, he's a genetic guy. He's a grower. He was a buyer in Northern California. He's just the smartest guy. Anyway, I knew him through a friend, and he asked me if he could do a Blues Brothers bud. And I said, no. No, Dan and Judy own that copyright. But then I started talking to him, and then we started thinking about it. I don't know, he just kind of talked to me. And then I had this farm, and I bought the 80 acres behind me. And it's like, am I going to grow, wheat, alfalfa, beets? And it just became legal in Oregon. I said, well, let's experiment. I knew this Captain Jack, who's friends with Danny, who has this incredible strain from the Mashar Reef, the mountains, the Kush Mountains, from 1972. He's been growing it from seed to flower ever since. And everybody at Saturday Night Live smoked it. And he was known as the smell of SNL. And then there's another guy, Jeffrey Iverson, was breeder, had a mentor in San Francisco, studied with him, and he grows these great strains out of Bend. And there's one called White Light that I like smoking because I'm not a big smoker because I have a low tolerance. Yeah. And it was White Light. You got light, white, up. And I was funny, charming, I was clear-headed, and I went, yeah, I'm not stoned, and so I tried to get him to give me more of that, and then I talked to him. So him and Captain Jack partnered up and did a 48-plant medical grow. And then we got our license, and then boom, we took off. We just started, built greenhouses, and just been growing ever since.
And so now you have the label Belushi's Farm, Belushi's Private Vault. Those are your cannabis strains. What are we looking for in terms of the most popular strains that people need to keep an eye out for?
Well, I hate to talk about it because I only got 4 pounds left.
That's a good problem to have.
I know, but I told this story at the harvest party. I was in front of 500 dispensary owners and bud tenders. And I told this story. They said, well, what is your favorite? And I go, well, I like the cherry pie. Well, why? I said, well, I call it the marriage counselor. At night when my wife says, are you hungry? Yeah. You want to go out? Sure. What do you have a taste for? Cheeseburger. She goes, oh, cheeseburger's a little heavy right now for me. Anything else? Yeah. I'd love that sushi place. I had sushi last night with my mom. Anything else? I said, yeah, how about that natural food place of Ocho Santo? They cook their food with cilantro. Cilantro, and everything. They got to put cilantro. Why are you asking me what I want to eat? Because you know damn well we're not going to go where I want to eat or eat what I want to eat. We're going to go where you want to eat and what you want to eat. Why are you wasting my time? Why are we doing this exercise every night? Let's just go where you want to go. She's like, what? So I take a little hit of this cherry pie. I come downstairs. She goes, oh, it's dinner time. You want to go out and get something to eat? Sure. What do you have a taste for? I said, honey, we can go to a Taco Bell as long as you're sitting across from me. And she's like, well, aren't you being charming? Am I? So it's just such an easy, light, empathetic, loving, charming, not too high. She doesn't even know that I had to hit. And it becomes a kind of a romantic night after Taco Bell, right? So I called it the marriage counselor. And what happened in Oregon was people were coming into dispensaries going, where's the marriage counselor? He needs it. So now that's the most popular strain. And then chocolate hash berries, that's the hammer. I won't even smoke that. And then there's Crippler, which I call the truth serum.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that's a dangerous one to smoke with your girl. Because you feel so warm and fuzzy, and you get into such a nice conversation that, you know, women, they can really sense when you're kind of open, and they start slipping in things like, oh, what was that girl's name again that you were dating before we started to get together? Oh, you mean, and then they just turn on you. You never told me that. I thought I told you. Now you're dead.
You're sleeping on the couch.
You're sleeping on the couch. Yeah, I should change it from truth serum to couch.
Couch lock.
Yeah. Well, couch log is more the cherry pie.
Oh yeah.
Then we got the Black Diamond, which is a favorite with veterans. Really high keef, high THC, and it's got really good terpenes and some CBD in it. And they really like it for their PTSD. I visit stores, you know, excuse me, I do about 2-hour appearances in every dispensary that sells. And I meet a lot of people, and I've learned a lot from them. And the veterans come in for the Black Diamond a lot. And I talk to them about it, and it relieves pain for them. This one guy said, I can talk to my children, and I can sleep. Thank you. And I said, I didn't make it. You know, I just steward it, you know.
Tell me more about Captain Jack, if you would. Where you met him, his story, and then why you wanted to bring him in to this Belushi farm experiment.
Well, you know, I've seen Captain Jack. He's come to a lot of Blues Brothers shows over the years, you know, and he does smell like this great weed as he walks. He's like Pigpen as he walks, you know. He always had a smile on his face. He was always a gentleman. So I've known Captain Jack. And I know he grew a little pot, but I'm not that big of a smoker, so it wasn't like I was chasing him, you know. And then when I started this farm, Danny said, you gotta talk to Captain Jack. And then when I started learning about what land strains are, what, you know, what's going on in our industries, I said, you want to grow it. It's a great story. You know, you were in the mountains with these men in these villages, this village that was known for hashish for hundreds of years. Took them 2 years for them to trust him, and they presented him with a bag of seeds. On his second year, and he brought it back here, and he's been growing it from seed to flower for 40 years. This year, I got him to clone. This year, we've taken 1,200 different seeds that he's grown over these 40 years, and we're working closely, well, we're contracted with Phylos out of Portland, and we're creating a whole DNA study. They did the first study, and in their galaxy, Captain Jack's way over here. There's nothing like it. Wasn't crossed or touched with anything. Everything's a hybrid now. You don't know what. This is its own unique strain. And so what we're doing is we're down to 430. And now we're flowering that out. And with all the science, we're going to reverse half of them, and then we're going to have an open pollination. And we're going to create the best of the Captain Jacks. So I always thought Captain Jack, the beauty of it was the myrcene, because there's 4% terpenes in Captain Jack, and 72% of that is myrcene. So there's like 3% myrcene in this.
Wow.
And myrcene is just a beautiful terpene that adds to the entourage effect. But I believe there is a cannabinoid in this that hasn't been found, that is creating the effect with the THC. It's not a high THC, and the myrcene that is so unique. And that's what we're trying to find. And Captain Jack's strain is so fun, so creative. I had some people out here, and we, split a joint, and for the next 40, 45 minutes, we were riffing. We were telling jokes off each other, that heighten and explore. I mean, we were laughing, having such a great time, and I thought, while I watched this happen, I went, so this is why they were smoking it on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
I could see the writers sitting around a table, blowing a joint, and coming up with cone heads. It's a very creative strain. It's very unique. It's got a great history. So I really believe the marketplace wants something unique. And that's what Captain Jack strain has to offer.